Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 55 of the Casual Weebs podcast. It's like the end of the season, boys. It is. I didn't realize it until this week. It just hit me. I'm like, wait, we're about to have the spring season. Like, I wasn't expecting this at all. We were just so caught up because the ends of these seasons for the winter season have been so goddamn good. You just completely forget, like, oh wait, we're an episode away. I forget what it was, but one of the animes this week just ended, and I was like, wait, that was it? I'm like, wait, oh my god, we're at 12 episodes? Like, oh shit, boys, this is it? I'm like, no.
Alarm starts sounding.
Bro, yeah, I texted you, I'm like, dude, like, this is the end. Like when did this
That's
happen?
that depression starts to set in. I feel you though. It's been like we've been so caught up with like these amazing animes. It's
Yeah.
like where's the time gone? It's honestly the first couple months of the year have blown by, but this season's been stellar to say the least. But yeah, kind of that bittersweet end. You get the finales, which are sick, but you're bummed to see them go.
Yeah, and like it's like they have us in a trance. The way that they've been just so action packed, just ramping up, just so amazing. All of them just so good. Where it's like you completely just forget, like, oh well, it's about to be over. Because typically we usually get hyped up, like, all right, next season's gonna be coming too, which is gonna be really nice. It's bittersweet because we're saying goodbye to these animes, but we have a whole bunch of new ones that we're gonna be able to dive right into. And like for this season, it just delivered on a way where it was just like, wait, don't go. Like,
Just like that,
yeah,
yeah.
you completely just forget. But I guess that's what we have to, like, look at the silver lining and just be grateful we had that kind of season. You know what I mean? We had so many animes that delivered so much, and we already took a little sneak peek at what we're gonna be getting in the spring season, and it looks pretty solid. Video coming soon where we talk about that. And yes, of course, that video would have already dropped already, but it's late because again we forgot. But we weren't expecting it. So let's get right into it. I think we gotta talk about solo leveling first. I mean, like, it's just straight up aura farming at this point. Like, Jinwoo, like, what the fuck was that guy on this week?
He is not beating the allegations, but that's okay because he's sick. Crazy, crazy episode. I feel like definitely lived up to the hype. And like, to give Baru credit, he was pretty equally badass until the very, very end. That kind of
Ah,
got done dirty, but he was pretty sick up until till Jinwoo showed up.
I don't know. Like, first of all, I think it's so funny you have these two, like, creatures. I mean,
Yeah, I don't even know what is Jinwoo at this point.
a monster, bro. Like, it's
Yes.
absolutely insane. The fact that they both sat there and were like, fuck it, let's just go toe to toe. Like, just straight up boxing to start it off. Like, you both have, like, insane amount of, like, weapons and tools at your disposal, and they're like, no, we're going bare fist. We're gonna just see who's just, like, more, like, raw strength. It was absolutely insane, and that's why I'm saying that Baru lost immediately, because he punched Jinwoo, and everyone's like, oh my god, Jinwoo, like, well, that's what happens when a mage gets too close. He's just not a physical fighter. And then it shows Jinwoo didn't even dodge. He just took the punch, spit the blood. Like, that's it? That's all you got? Like, that right there, like, they're lost right there. Like, that was it. That's GG's. You FF, next game, we're done. He lost. That was insane.
Tough moment for Baru, but like the whole time that was like going on, they show like Choi and the other S ranks and
Hmm.
like the guild masters, and they're like literally wrong every time. Like, yeah, exactly what you said. Oh, that's what happens when a mage gets too close, and they're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what are we watching? So like, I feel like they got power scaled pretty heavy too, but yes, very, very sick confrontation. And I thought it was cool. He wasn't like just the same thing. Jinwoo summons the shadows, overwhelms them with like strength, speed, numbers. He straight up did it himself.
Oh my god, first of all, who's it? Chairman? Chairman Go? Is that his name? Like, was that
Yes,
his title?
dude.
I know the names now, but I keep forgetting, like, the titles. Because it's like President Choi, I think, Chairman Go. Chairman Go was all of us watching, just crushing the armchair, like, that's my boy! I
Let's
knew
go.
it! Don't doubt him for a second! You know what I mean? He's the real homie, dude. He was us just watching this shit, just absolutely foaming at the mouth, like, holy shit. But, like, speaking of that, that moment was one of the greatest moments ever. When they go toe to toe, they're fucking each other up, and dude, Jinwoo's just winning, and he ends up cutting off Baru's like arms and legs, and Baru's just fucking sitting there, just propped up, and he just like screams out to get the other bugs to like go back, like to fight. He's like fuck it, you guys just kill him. right? And that fucking smirk on Jinwoo's face when he's like, oh.
Yes.
He's like, oh, like, you fucked up. Like, this is where I specialize. And he's just like, go. And the shadows just come out of nowhere and just start clashing and just fucking him up. Dude, I was like, holy shit. Dude, that's where I absolutely fucking lost it. I thought that was one of the sickest scenes ever. It was just so clean, and there was that like pause. You know what I mean? There was that like brief pause, and he just had to have some marketing. Just like go, and it just full sent. I was like, oh, so good, amazing.
Such a perfect moment, dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're exactly right. He gives you that little smirk. They stop just to show you that, and then to have that moment where he sends out all his shadow
Mm-hmm.
soldiers. And it was a really cool way to like pretty much embarrass Beru. He's literally like cut to pieces, begs for help, and then his help gets slaughtered instantly as he's trying to like flee for his life. Such a sick scene though, and like Beru's inner monologue where he's like, "Oh, I have to like fight to survive now." Like
Mm-hmm.
totally switched from, when he like encounters Goto and he's like, "Oh, are you the king?" Like, yeah, not quite how he thought it was gonna go.
Bro, Barrow went from one tapping, just absolutely beheading everyone on the island. He didn't even care that they were S ranks. To them, to him, they were just straight up E ranks, right? Goes to Goto, it's like, oh, you're the king, one tapped, and now he went from that to going to running for his life. Like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking monster. Someone help me! Like, oh my god. You know what I mean? Where Jinwoo, nah, he's not the king, bro. He's the devil. You know what I mean? Like, you can run all you want. You can't outrun him. You know what I mean? Like, that was just so funny. He's just like absolutely fighting for it. Like, he couldn't get away. And then just seeing Jinwoo just chase after him and just start chopping him up it became like went from like badass to like comical in a way. I was just dying.
The average solo leveling experience for
Yeah.
anybody that has to fight Jinwoo. But yeah, it was really cool to see that like trajectory of like being super OP, untouchable to basically like fodder for Jinwoo, which everybody at this point kind of feels like, they're a couple steps beneath him, but
Yeah.
even Baru got the treatment.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. The animation too was on a whole nother level. Like the art style was fucking incredible. The scene with his eye, I think, was just like absolutely insane. Like
Gorgeous.
so good. I was completely blown away. Like you're watching the episode, you're like, wow, like they really went up a notch with the animation. Like this is great. This is insane. Then you had that scene, you're like, holy shit. Like, is this some Apothecary Diaries? Some Demon Slayer level shit? Like, what's going on here? Like, who let them cook? What's this budget looking like? You know what I mean? But, like, so good. So amazing.
And it's been great all year for them to like, we've had a lot of really cool moments and
Mm-hmm.
fights, but for them to like take it up a notch for, what is like the climax of the season, I thought was phenomenal. Like really impressive. The scene with the eye was just like 10 out of 10, masterclass stuff.
I love how the S ranks, too, just over and over again were like, nothing you can do can surprise me now. Then, like, oh.
Yeah.
Nothing
Dude, so
anymore can
true.
surprise me.
And like the whole time, yeah, they're like constantly like, oh, well, that's what happens. And then it's like, wait, who the fuck is this guy? Only
wait,
Chairman
wait.
Go is like, he's the only guy not trying to like power scale him or whatever. He's a fan like the rest of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, he really is. He like, and he even kind of says it. He's like, if only I could, be 10 years younger and fight alongside him in these dungeons. You know what I mean? Like, he respects Jinwoo, admires him. He kind of just like, I don't know. He just admires him. Where everyone else is trying to compete with him. You know what I mean? Trying to like, gauge themselves towards him. And that's why they keep getting blown away. And like,
That's the perfect way to put it. Instead of like
Mhm.
admiring him, I feel like the other S ranks are like trying to put themselves in competition. And this was the episode they realized, yeah, there really is no competition.
Something that was like kind of like slept on too and kind of overlooked because it's just absolute insanity all episode. I think this episode really kind of shined how Cha is way stronger than the rest of them as well. She like herself is also on another level because I mean it's like stuff that Jinwoo was talking about. Baru targeting her first. You know what I mean? And because from what I gathered, Baru when he eats stuff kind of like gains their memories, which is why he kind of ate the queen. Is because he's like, all right, well, who did this? You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, Cha did. I'm gonna attack her, right? I'm gonna avenge my queen's killer, my mother's
Yeah.
killer. right? But you can kind of tell he kind of like was already kind of like, you know, like focused on her a little bit. Even Jinwoo was kind of talking about how like Cha is a bit on like a different level. I mean, even with her injuries, like the potion wasn't able to heal her because she was so injured yet still alive. Like she's just quite literally built different. And I'd love if we can explore more into that, and I think that we end up doing multiple seasons from now. Because it seems like Cha and Jinwoo kind of go hand in hand and kind of become like a duo.
Yeah, and I've seen like enough talk online that
Mm-hmm.
she's like a pretty key point in the story. I mean, she has been up to this point, maybe not like crucial, but she's obviously one of those like major S ranks that's going to be in the story. But you're right, everybody else gets healed and is kind of like back to 100%. And they also like kind of didn't suffer the same injuries. I feel like Beck kind of got let off easy. I mean, he gets chewed up pretty bad, but
Yeah.
Bear definitely spares him. Whereas like Cha and like Goto, he went right for the kill right away.
Yeah, so it was pretty insane. But I mean, that episode was incredible. Again, I know the spoilers for the next episode, which honestly I'm really kind of annoyed about. Like, there's some things I like to be spoiled on, but like moments like what's gonna like moments like next episode, it's like, boys, we're not done yet. Like, there might not be the same level of action, right? Bear is dead, but I feel like now we're gonna have that perfect ending. You know what I mean? To a perfect season. We're gonna have it's gonna come full circle. It's gonna be fucking awesome, and we're gonna be like, oh my god. You know what I mean? And it's just gonna leave us so satisfied. So it sucks that we're spoiled. You know. But for those of you who have no idea, you're really gonna enjoy next episode. Even though it's not like the same level of aura farming or fighting or action. You know what I mean? It's gonna be so goddamn good, and I'm hoping they leave us on a cliffhanger. I don't know what the cliffhanger would be, but I'm hoping it's going to leave us with a nice hook into the next season. That's what I'm really kind of looking forward.
I read that the studio does cliffhangers all the time, so I kind of
Mm-hmm.
thought that maybe we would have some like, turn or an event pop up that like leads us into season three. But I think you make a good point too. It doesn't have to be like all action and
Yeah,
like the height of a battle. Like we all knew Jeju Island was like the peak of this season. But like story driven stuff or character driven stuff, to kind of cap off or start off a season, I think is equally as satisfying, especially this far into solo leveling. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hyped to see kind of like how the whole raid ends up and how we get back, but I'm sure, obviously it'll be a good surprise.
well, when we get back, our boy's a fucking celebrity. You know what I mean? Because
Legend.
everyone was watching that. Everyone.
True
And I love
that.
how he starts with, "Hey guys, whatever you see here, don't say anything." Right? It's like, hey, they're
Yeah.
recording, like it's live, like they're streaming it to all of Korea, bro. Like they're not gonna say shit, but everyone's gonna see it. You know what I mean?
Yo, also, did you catch the cameraman saying he's an A rank?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you're S rank, bro. You're one of the only ones to make it out of this. Like, let's give my man some props. I thought that was so funny. Like,
Mhm.
we're like, oh, the cameraman never dies, and he like just happened to say that he was an A rank. I thought that was super funny.
Well, they actually said it on the way there because they talked about like, "Hey man, like stay behind us, like don't get killed." He's like, "Hey, I'm an A rank. I'm on this shit all the time. You know, I'm in these kind of domains. Like, trust me, I can handle myself." And that's where it kept getting
Uh,
brought back to where he kept saying like, "Oh my god, I'm an A rank. Like, how the fuck are they able to do this?" You know what I mean? Where he was so surprised. Where like, "Oh, this is the magnitude or the power." In an S rank dungeon, you know what I mean? Because he's been in a lot of A ranks, but this is the first S rank dungeon. Because I think there's only been like a handful of them. You know what I mean? They're not common at all, like very rare. So
true.
that's where he was like really like blown away. Where he's like, I can barely stay conscious. Like, how are they still on their feet? Type of shit.
I must have missed that, but yeah, I was cracking up. I'm
Yeah,
like,
so
yeah,
brief.
my boy's an honorary S rank after this.
Dude, he has to be though, because you're right. It's not even that he's still alive. Bro didn't get hit. You know what I mean? He did the no damage boss run.
He's on the Jinwoo run right now. No damage, unscathed, coming back a hero.
Yo, for real. Yo, yeah, that news what channel has gotta love him for capturing all of that. Bro's getting promoted 100%.
Big raise in his future, absolutely.
But yeah, it's gonna be absolutely insane, and I'm hoping this is a little speculation. I don't know. I'm hoping this is where we interact with his dad, because his dad's got to see that shit too. You know what I mean? If it made the
Hmm.
news and it was broadcast, the world's gonna see it. So hopefully Jinwoo's dad sees like, hey, that's my kid. You know what I mean? And he goes back.
could definitely see that, and then like gives you some like lore implications because obviously like he's a key part of the story, Jinwoo's dad. So that
Yeah.
could like set us up nicely for season 3 with like a little bit of mystery, but a little bit of a reveal at the same time.
Yeah, and it was also really funny. His sister just being like, looking on the phone, like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me! Is that Jinwoo?"
He said he was just stepping out for a few days.
Like, he said he was getting stuff like from the grocery store. Why is he thousands of miles away on an island killing the final boss? Like, what's going on here? Bro,
My
doesn't even
man
tell the
cannot
mom,
be
by the way,
trusted.
too. Doesn't even like go and be like, "Hey mom, by the way, Jinwoo's at Jeju Island." You know what I mean? Just completely is in like stun locked at her desk.
Yeah, they don't want to stress her out. They're like, yeah, we'll just keep it a secret from mom and dad, you know?
Oh, bro, unbelievable. Such a good episode, though. Such a great season. And boys,
Perfect.
one more episode. One more episode. Oh, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt,
We'll have
but
to enjoy it.
yeah.
Enjoy it for sure. But yes, it has been a perfect season,
Hmm.
perfect episode. Literally could not rate it any higher. You know what I mean? 10 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah, it's gotta get anime of the year. Like it's something. I don't think anything's this early on has made such a strong case. Like it's insane.
That's a really good point. I just don't know like what else, would compete with it. It would have to be something major like, Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer or Chainsaw Man.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it, and like, because we talked about, I think, the last podcast episode. Like, there's definitely going to be things that can compete against it because this year's absolutely fucking foul. I mean, we're gonna have Sakamoto Days Part Two, and we have a suspicion that Part Two, like the season two, that's coming out in like a couple of months. Oh, by the way, that was the anime that was the last episode. Where it's like, oh, next episode in July. I'm like, the fuck you mean in July? This is like, we're in March. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, so Sakamoto Days, the second part of the season, or second season, is going to be coming out. Same thing with Dan to Dan, same thing with Kaiju 8. I think we're getting the Demon Slayer movie, we're getting the Chainsaw Man movie. So there's definitely, like, massive names dropping massive projects that could potentially give it a run for his money. But the problem is that you need to absolutely kill it in every single aspect. You have to deliver on a phenomenal season with phenomenal animation. You know, you can't have any little bit of a, like mess ups because this season didn't have any blemishes. You know what I mean? You have to have strong music. You need everything, I think, to really compete with this. And it's just like, could we? You know, I mean, there's things that are never gonna give like the Demon Slayer arc gives me the Infinity Castle arc, which is supposed to be absolutely cracked out. It's a movie. Chainsaw Man's dropping the Bomb Devil arc. That movie that's been long awaited, so that could absolutely deliver. But we have no idea. Both of them are movies, so the animation on them is gonna be pretty insane. But I don't think either of them are gonna get anime of the year because there are movies. But that's gonna be a competitive title as well for an award. I mean, Kaiju 8 Day to Day and Sakamoto Days, for me, I think that those animes are going to have disgusting seasons that we're going to be absolutely drooling over, just like nonstop yapping about. But are they going to deliver on the animation? Like I feel like Solo Leveling bodied animation, and I feel like that's where it's going to kind of differentiate the animes.
And like over the course of a whole season, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
not, 8 great episodes and 4 okay episodes, like 12 really good fucking episodes. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to do, you know what I mean? It's hard to like do something so long and be perfect and, you know, n- meet every budget and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that all the stuff that goes into it. But either way, I'm here for them all. I will gladly yap about them to
Oh,
to the end, but
yeah.
super excited. But yeah, I gotta say this is gonna be very tough to beat for anime of the year.
And listen, we say that putting it out in the universe to hope that it is going to be very competitive this year because there's a lot of
Yes.
potential for people for animes to compete with it. So if they deliver, oh, we're in for the greatest year of anime, like easy.
Hell yeah, absolutely, dude. Can't wait.
I mean, what do we got to go into now though? You want to go into some? You want to go into some blue box, or you want to go into Sakamoto Days, the last episode?
Let's do Blue Box. I feel like that was crazy. I mean, we had been
Mm-hmm.
building up to this for a while, and I feel like everything we talked about last week and the previous week kind of like came to a head, and I feel like we were pretty accurate. Like the
Yeah.
whole, and even Taiki says it, the whole dynamic that they're creating, him and Hina, is not really healthy,
No.
and it's definitely not good for her. And he does make that point. So kind of felt bad. It was a really good episode, I think, for Hina, but you kind of feel bad for her, and now it puts all the pressure on Chinatsu to like make something happen here before the season's over.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like, Taiki, you did the right thing, right? You did a good
Yes.
thing. You did the thing that needed to be done. But God, you're an idiot. Like, like, like it's insane, bro. Because it's like, yeah, like it's a rough spot. You know what I mean? Because like Taiki, you gotta feel bad for him too, because he's like in such a bad position. Because like you don't want to, he doesn't want to ruin his friendship with Hina. You know what I mean? And her plan worked. I mean, she's sitting there and like she even talked about it, how she was reading like the mangas, like romance mangas, being okay, what's really gonna make him like blush? You know, what's really gonna get him uncomfortable? And she delivered so many different times. And he's like, yeah, like I can't help but like see you in a different way now. So he's like feels really awkward about that. But it's like, damn, dude, you got someone who really cares about you, and it's just kind of how life is, you know what I mean? Because like you can't help but also like Chinatsu. But it's like, damn, bro, like that sucks. We talked about it all season, how this is just building to Hina getting hurt, and it was finally the episode where it happened, and it's like it sucks. It sucks.
It really does. I'm definitely with you. I think he did the right thing and like he did what had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. You don't want to like jeopardize their friendship. And Hina even kind of says it too. She's like, we have way more memories and like we go back further and like we're closer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is it that I don't live with you? And like obviously that's not what it is, but yeah, it kind of felt bad. You know what I mean? You definitely feel for Hina, but exactly like you said, that's just kind of the way life works. Right place, wrong time, or vice versa. Chinatsu's just the one he's into, and like I said, there's a lot of pressure on her to like not blow this up. I feel like I would have seen or heard something about it by now.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like, damn. It's kind of like the old saying, like, go for the girl that likes you, not the girl you like. It was like, I don't know, man. Hina's pretty awesome. So hopefully everything works out.
But here's the crazy part. I think this whole episode, the whole speculation and like gossip, wasn't even about Taiki. It was about Kyo and Ayame. I mean, first of all, like she's like, I'm so glad Kyo called her out, because she sits
Oh,
there
yes.
all high and mighty as like this romance savant. Like she's just so fucking smart and knows everything. And he's like, bro, like you don't even like have lasting relationships. Like the fuck do you know? You never liked any of those guys. You're just saying yes to dudes who like you, and then it doesn't work out in like 2 weeks, and then you think you're like some guru. And she's like, oh my god, I can't believe anyone said that. So first of all, two things. One, is that going to be a thing? Is because you were saying that you saw something and it says Kyo, he eventually gets a little bit of some spotlight. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of wondering if that's going to be the spotlight, where if they end up dating or something like that. And then two, like Ayame, bro, I think she fucked up. I think she kind of put also Hina in a bad spot. You know what I mean? She took the bad situation, kind of made it worse by putting that hype into Hina, giving her that extra hope, and then forcing her to kind of like act more on it, like make a decision, like, oh no, you gotta like go for Taiki, like you gotta get your answer now, and then setting up the situations where like they're interacting and stuff, and it's just like it kind of like put more pressure on Taiki, which made him make his final decision.
Yeah, like we kind of always knew what it would be. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
just like the shonen, Naruto is going to defeat the villain at
Mm-hmm.
some point. You knew Taiki was going to, turn Hina down because he likes Chinatsu, but it was kind of cool to see, like you said, she's like very high and mighty. It was nice to see Aime get brought back down to earth. One with Kyo's absolute burn. It's just like straight perfect, dude. Because she definitely feels that way, and like that
Mm-hmm.
she's maybe like a little better at the whole romance thing than everybody else. But so she sees that and he's like, damn, he kind of does have a point. And then when she sees Hina crying, she was like, damn, like this didn't play out at all like I thought it would, and like I actually don't know what I'm talking about. So it was kind of like a humbling experience, especially when she saw Hina crying and like the situation that she was in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's like deeper for Hina, but you're right, there was a little bit of a spotlight there, and I don't know who Kyo has like a love interest with, but I know they do like kind of like focus on the other characters like that in a way.
Yeah, like it's gonna be insane. Like, and it's so crazy coming from Kyo, because he's like that quiet, wise dude who just comes in and is just the greatest wingman all season. Just very supportive, saying the right things at the right time. Except for this one time with Yame where he's just like, you don't know fucking anything. Like just kind of like low key with one sentence just kind of like rips her apart, and it's like, yo, fuck.
Mic drop. I
Yo.
was definitely like, ooh, okay, all right, Kyo.
He's always been like the kind, supportive, nice guy, and like I'm not saying he isn't now. I'm not saying he's like, oh wow, what an asshole. But like saying what you need to say, but in like the harsh way this time was kind of fucking crazy. I loved it. I was like, yo, I like the side of Kyo. Like, let's go.
Yeah, he's always like very in control of his
Mhm.
emotions and like he's very thoughtful and kind of like even keeled. So it was cool to see him be like, yo, like, what do you know? Who the fuck are you? Oh, yes. Thank you for saying what everyone is thinking, Kyo. Once again.
Oh, dude, like we needed an anime spin-off for Kyo, bro. Like we hyped him up all goddamn
Right?
season. Like it's pretty much been 2 seasons of Blue Box. So we've been talking about this guy for months. You know what I mean? Like we need the spin-off. Like he's so goated. I don't know who he ends up with or what happens with him. But that's the other thing. I forget where. Oh, is one our Bleach video where we're talking about like how the writing was just kind of like weird, right? Because we're like, all right, you guys, you're building it up. Like it's gonna be Ichigo and Rukia, right? And it's like, why does he end up with like Orihime? You know what I mean? It was like, oh, like we don't really care either way, but like, why was it written that way? Why do people have to end up together? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Why do the relationships actually have to happen? It's like the same thing with every anime, and that's why I think like especially like the OGs like Naruto and Bleach just feel super weird because like you're just like, all right, we're just gonna give you the relationship, the romance, but like at the end, and it's like really rushed and like weirdly fucking written, like because like we have to do it. It's like you actually don't have to. Like Ichigo can be single. You know what I mean? Like it could just be chilling. You know, Kyo doesn't need somebody, but I hope he gets his time in some way, whether it's gonna be academically where he just pops off and he becomes like number one in the class, or sports wise. But like yeah, that's something I like thought about. I was like, why? You know what I mean? Why do we have to have the ships?
Very, very good point. You're exactly right. I share the same feeling. Like, I just want him to get his time to shine.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like in the story, I hope that he gets his moment to like get his flowers.
Hmm.
But the only I totally agree with you. They're like there's so many ships that I think just come from like the fandom or like,
Yeah.
the hype behind certain characters. I feel like Naruto and Hinata were the only couple that like felt like they should happen the whole time.
Yeah.
Like Sasuke and Sakura, come on, bro. Are you kidding me? Guy was an absolute menace
Yeah.
to you especially, like the whole show, and it's like, oh no, they got married happily ever after. It's like, the fuck.
Yeah.
At least Hinata was like riding for Naruto, even challenged Pain. That's a good woman right there.
And like the thing is too is that like I feel like the artists are like spiteful about it because like it's never good. It's kind of like I'm so sick of hearing about the fucking chips. I'm just gonna give it to you, but like in a shitty way. You know what I mean? We're just gonna get them together, call it a day. All right, that's it. We're fun. You know what I mean? Like they made Sasuke like such like a fucking like asshole husband. Like from what I've been hearing, like bro's just not even there half
Yeah.
the time. He's just like gone. You know what I mean? He's just like not around. So like I feel like they just do it in a way
Typical.
where it's like, hey, you get what you want, but be careful what you ask for. So it's like, dude, like, why do we have to do it? And I say this too as we sit here, like, all the time, like, oh my god, I think they should have.
They're so cute. Yeah. It's so spot on.
But it's definitely like, yeah, like one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't always need to happen, especially because if you do it right. But if not, like, it can just be chill. So hopefully, Kyo, in some way or another, kind of gets his time to shine. I feel like he definitely needs good things to happen to him in this anime because bro has just been such like a wingman, an underdog, that guy that you need. You know what I mean? He's the best, and for everybody. It's
Yeah,
not just
exactly.
Taiki.
It's not just Taiki's friend. Like he's generally like an all around good dude. So yeah, I hope he gets his time, man. Kyo rocks.
Dude, he really does. But I absolutely love that episode. I'm really looking for the next one. I think the next one's the last episode, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be something.
Yes. I hope it's gonna be something either way, but I hope it's a good something.
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. So we're turning off social media. We're turning off the phone. You know the YouTube until next week because wait until we it's only a couple of days. Let's
Thursday, yeah, dude.
go. Yeah, Thursday,
Almost
guys.
there.
Blue Box is on Thursday. Crazy,
That's, that's so funny. I was still laughing about that.
bro.
No
That
shame, brother.
Bro, that shit had me dying last week from so many things. The late night, but also the donut club. That thing had me fucking dying. Bro, when
we
you when you're like, yeah, Goku and Ichigo got donuted mad times. I was on the floor. I rewatched like 9 times as I was editing it.
dude, we were on a roll. Ah, that's awesome.
So funny. But is there anything else you'd like to add to Blue Box?
I hope we get a confession next week. That would be a nice finale. It would set us up well for the future. I hope it's sick. Otherwise, I would be pretty disappointed.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see when we're going to get a next season because this was a 2-part season. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. So do we see
Mm.
something next year? You know, towards the end of the year. You know, it could be a good bit. So hopefully we at least get like a confirmation if there's going to be like a season 3.
Yeah, agreed. I think it will just because the manga's super popular, so I feel like there's a lot left still to work with. But yeah, hopefully we get something this year for season 3.
Yeah, and speaking of something we're getting this year, Sakamoto Days dropped last episode. It will be back soon, but that is going to be awesome. We have new goddamn villains. I am stoked for that. They look sick.
Super sick, and it finally feels like we have like villains that are like actually dangerous. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Nobody really has posed a threat to Sakamoto yet, but obviously these are like real psychos with like a lack of emotion. So very excited to see how they play them up.
And I feel like it's going to be like really fun and have a really fun dynamic because right now, like we've talked about, it, I think multiple podcast episodes ago, that like Sakamoto is low key against the order. Well, the order's against Sakamoto. They're like, hey, you can't just leave. You know what I mean? If you don't come back, we're gonna have to deal with you. You know what I mean? And right now, he's just not a priority. So they just don't care. They're just not paying attention to him. You know, he's got the bounty on him, so it's not like they have to really worry about anything. But like eventually at one point they are going to kind of be enemies. But right now it seems like they're going to be allies because Slur is not just against Sakamoto but the whole order. Because when he dropped out the hit list, it was for against the order. It was Sakamoto and then everybody else a part of it. So I feel like the dynamic of them teaming up, you know, in this next arc is gonna be really cool, a lot of fun. But when they turn against each other, that's gonna be pretty sick too. And I hear Sakamoto is not the strongest in the order. So I am really excited to meet some of those members. I'm really excited to get into a lot of that. I feel like there is so much to play with, you know, over the next couple of seasons and a lot of different dynamics to interact with where it's going to be a blast, especially because Sakamoto, we even keep seeing it, he, like, doesn't always, he's the embodiment of just because you're my opponent doesn't mean you're my enemy. Because even this episode, the guy who worked with, for, Lou's family after the whole gambling thing, you know, ends up coming to the store. You know what I mean? It's not like they are against him or hold anything against him. So I think that because of that dynamic, it's going to make for a very interesting series in general.
Yeah, I thought it was super funny. It's like at this point, if you lose against Sakamoto, you're picking up an 8-hour shift at the store tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
that's the price you pay for survival. I think like stuff like that is so funny and like enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But it finally feels like they're starting to heat up because like yeah, like you said on that hit list is Nagamo, Osaragi, um, blonde haired, long haired dude. I forget his name. Shichiba
Don't know.
and Sakamoto.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I think the only four like order members that we know. But yeah, obviously there's like that mutual agree, mutual plan. You know what I mean? Slur's trying to take them out, so like they are allies for now. But you know, it's only because they have similar interests. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how this whole arc develops and yeah, how much they work together and like if they really are still looking out for each other. Because they had a friendly meeting back in episode like 9 or 10 or whatever that was
They had a
when
couple.
Sakamoto bumps into them.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
we met what's his face, you know, a couple of times at the store. You know, they've run into him a couple of times. The one dude who can disguise himself.
Nagamo, yeah, who's
Yes,
like always
Nagamo.
kind of lying. He's like,
Yeah,
you know, never really upfront.
Lewis Shin
Love
beat
his
the hell out of
character.
him every time he lies.
Yeah,
But then,
so good.
yeah, a couple episodes we had another encounter, and everything seems to be like very like cordial, very mutual. You know what I mean? So everything seems fine now, but you got to imagine eventually they're gonna turn, and that's gonna be absolutely insane. Also, this episode was just like low key, kind of like what the fuck? Why was everyone coming at Sakamoto, calling him a fatty, bro? What was up with that?
Yo,
Like they fucking shamed him so hard for that, like 9 times this episode. Like, what's going on?
it's like that trope where like they see him as assuming or not
Mm-hmm.
intimidating because he looks overweight, but then like I don't know. He's still alive. He's like the best hitman. You would think at some
Yeah.
point, like, should probably stop underestimating him.
Like everyone made that comment, and like every like 5 minutes, they're like, "Oh, what's this fatty?" I'm like, put some respect on his
Damn.
name. Like, what the fuck? Do you not see the
Yeah.
bounty on him? Like, relax. Like, Jesus. Like, he looks fine. All right, you know. But I feel like low key that's foreshadowing to Sakamoto getting very serious soon, because whenever he gets serious and he fights and he's moving a lot, well, we see skinny Sakamoto because he becomes skinny again. I feel like that's foreshadowing that. I feel like he's gonna end up, getting into that form, getting in shape again, and it's gonna stay for a little bit. And I don't know if people are. I don't know if that's gonna happen. But if it does, I don't know if people are gonna like it. I know people like his larger form, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens if they're just talking shit or if this is foreshadowing.
I think you make a good point because, like, you can kind of feel the ramp up intensity of villains and, like,
Hmm.
with a little bit of, like, future manga knowledge, like, he's definitely fighting, like, serious opponents. You know what I mean? So I could definitely
Yeah.
see him slimming down. It's like the need to train or, like, stay at a higher level rather than just, like, store manager Sakamoto. I could
Yeah.
definitely see that.
And it's gonna be awesome. That's the one thing I really can't wait for the second part, because getting right into the manga after that, you know what I mean? Got to do that.
Yes, let's go.
Other than that, I mean, I feel like it's been a really solid season. Season one, well, the first part of it is now done. I feel like it was solid. I feel like it got a lot of hate. It got a lot of things that people didn't necessarily like. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to the second part and for the second season. I feel like it. I feel like it wasn't as. I feel like people are too harsh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was super fun. We got a couple really badass fights, and it kind of felt like Dandadan, where you have like two or three major moments, and then like kind of goes on hiatus for that
Hmm.
season coming up in July. So like it does feel a little unfinished, but thankfully we don't have to wait that long for it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it was a lot of fun, really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. I feel like I love Sakamoto Days. It's like it grew on me
Thank you.
so easily. Like, I'm like, dude, this is sick. So I'm very excited for that. Is there anything else you want to add about Sakamoto Days?
Amazing cast, dude. How could you not like,
Dude,
fall in love with the
yeah.
characters? It's such a good cast. But I agree with you. I think it's been awesome. I
Hmm.
think season two is going to be even better, and hopefully, yeah, people aren't as harsh on it because I think criticism is always warranted, but I think it was a little unjust after a full season of work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, the season, boys, for everything was amazing. It was incredible. Absolutely loved it. It's coming to an end. It's about over here, which sucks, but we have a new season coming, and it's gonna be sick. Fire Force season 3. I feel like it's going to be awesome. Windbreaker season 2, and then a bunch of premieres as well. It seems like we are still gonna be eating, and I'm very excited. And after that, the summer season, it seems like it's gonna be like the most broken season ever. It's disgusting. It's holy fuck. Like, it's absolutely incredible. So I don't know how we're gonna survive that, but we'll find a way.
That's right.
Is there anything you want to add in general?
Hype for these finales, like you said, it's always bittersweet,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been an incredible season. Very grateful for it, and yeah, we're just gonna keep eating. There's a lot of good stuff coming, so look forward to it.
Oh, I'm stoked. Hope you guys are too. But that is it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.